All right, so let's go ahead and talk about for-profit prisons. And what always gets me is how many people don't understand this, and it's not rocket science. And look, I'm not gonna come on here and show you graphs and treat you like little kids and be like, well, look at this graph. You see this graph? It shows that. Look at 2015 compared to 2016. Look at the graph. I'm not gonna do that, right? Either you listen or you don't. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay. First of all, right, number one, I think people need to acknowledge at this point anyway, right? People need to acknowledge that this is a real thing. That it's not just some made up, it's talking point, or it's not just an idea or even a conspiracy theory. That's not what this is. This can be easily traced, right? This can be easily looked at. Okay. And all you need, right? If I tell you do your research, right? This is how you don't do research. You don't look for some article, read the article, and then that's your research. Oh, well, I saw an article online, and this is what the article said. Right now, it doesn't mean that if you find an article that article is not accurate. It just means that you could do research on anything and find somebody that tells you what you want to hear. But that's not the point. In this case, though, it's the same rule I apply to almost everything. In most cases, if not all cases, just use your common sense and follow the money. That's all you have to do. Follow the money. All right. Why? Because that's what makes the world go round. Right. That's you. You depend on money, don't you? I depend on money. Everybody needs money to a certain degree. Some of us need more money than others, right? Some of us have more money than others, right? But nonetheless, to a certain degree, we all need money. And aside from the need, a lot of people want money. People do crazy things for money. Have you not seen the things that people will do for money? It's crazy what people would do for money, right? If I mean, people steal from their own grandmothers for money, right? But that's it. If you follow the money, it just you could only reach one logical conclusion, right? Honestly, it's I don't see another conclusion you could run into here. Okay, and when it comes to private prisons, in all reality, it's very sick and demented to me how anyone can make an argument to make sense of the whole thing. Okay, so first of all, this is how it works. In this country, we have for-profit prisons, right? Privately owned prisons. That is insane. Okay, and they make profit off of what? Our taxpayer money, right? All those guards, all those that they have to pay, all the equipment they have to buy, all they have to build, right? All the maintenance they need to do, all the food they need to serve, all the prisoners that they need to house, right? And and take care of for whatever their clothes, the water they use to wash it. All that is paid for by taxpayers, right? All of it. And on top of that, they make profit out of it, right? Um, so let's look at it for a moment, right? Number one, if you it starts at first of all the political level, right? It does. These private prisons have lobbyists in almost every state legislature in this country because there's state-run private prisons, and in Washington for federally funded private prisons, right? Um, Obama decided he was going to scrap private prisons on his way out. Well, isn't that good of you, Mr. Obama? All right, President Obama, right? And of course, Trump's going to bring them back, right? Like, oh, perfect. Now, the number of incarcerated individuals we have for non-violent offenses is astonishing, right? It's astonishing because you're not going to find that many violent people to lock up. I'm not saying there's no violent people out there. I'm not saying we shouldn't have prisons, right? But we shouldn't have in this country, everything's for profit. Okay, prisons are for profit. Healthcare is for fucking profit. Okay, I mean it's fucking insane. It's the country we live in. Everything's for profit, right? Look, these private prisons, and there's many of them, have donated millions to politicians at state and federal level for years, right? And it's not like they donate to them as private citizens because I like that one congressman, or oh yeah, I really like that senator. You know, I really like him. You know, I like his stance on abortion. You know, yeah, you know, I really like that senator's or that congressman's stance. You know, on foreign policy. You know, like it's not like that's what they're doing here, right? They don't give a fuck even about the taxes, right? They don't give a shit about that, right? Like I really like the, you know, he's libertarian. I really like him a lot, you know. That's not what this is. They're hired goons. Okay, they're hired lobbyists by these private prisons. Their job is to lobby in Washington or statewide, right? So what's their purpose? What do you think they're doing? You think they just want to mingle in Washington because where all the cool kids are in Washington, or what? You think that you want to chill over there because it's just a nice city? They like the smell of it, or what? Because it looks nice. They want to see the Washington Monument, right? Oh, that statue of Lincoln. It's a nice statue. I want to see it. I want to become a lobbyist to go see that. You think they send them out there on a vacation, right? What do you think they're doing? They're bribing politicians, right? So private prisons give a lot of money to super PACs, which are unlimited, and also directly to politicians. It's in plain sight. It's not like they're hiding it. It's right there. It's in plain sight, right? They give a lot of money. And by the way, which is ironically our money. It's taxpayer money because that's what they make profit out of, right? So they're giving these politicians this money for their campaigns. Well, what do you think's going to happen, right? Let me read this really quick, and this is from the biggest lobbyist, okay, of private prisons here. I'm going to read this right now. I quote, any changes with respect to drugs and controlled substances or illegal immigration could affect the number of persons arrested, convicted, and sentenced, thereby potentially reducing demand for correctional facilities to house them. Right? They're running a business, right? That's what they're doing. And it's a sick business. In order for them to turn a profit, they need to lock people up, right? They need people convicted. They need people in jail. They need people in prison. Because when that happens, when somebody goes to prison, it's not, they don't pay for that. Taxpayers pay for that, right? On top of that, I haven't even got into the quote unquote cheap, but it's actually slave labor that they have many of these prisoners do, right? and that corporations will pay a lot of these private prisons money, okay, because it's going to cost a lot less to do that and to hire actual people to do these jobs. Okay, and what I mean by that is people that are not incarcerated and that you have to pay at least the minimum wage to, because that does not apply to people in prison. There has been bills proposed that if you want a prisoner to work, then you got to pay him at least minimum wage. And even if he doesn't get to use the money while he's in prison, that money should be available to them when they get out of prison, right? That's gotten shut down. The why in God's green earth would that be fucking shut down? What's wrong with that? But people don't think about that. They just assume all they're bad people. Okay? They're bad, terrible people. That's why they're in jail. That's how people think. Right? This is insane. Okay, well, we shouldn't be doing this. What the fuck's the matter with us? Right? So how does this work? Well, it's real simple. Right? Politicians know what they're doing. Right? These lobbyists, okay, when it comes to certain proposed bills, they go after these bills. Right? It's not like, they're not playing games here. Okay? Now, to talk about a company here called, what the fuck? Corrections Corporation of America. Let's talk about this company, okay? CCA. This company has also spent money to help block bills that have directly tried to affect CCA and other private prison outfits. Most recently, lobbying funds towards a Justice is Not for Sale Act of 2015, a bill pushed by Senator Bernie Sanders that would have banned private prisons, and the Private Prison Information Act of 2015, which would have subjected private prisons records to Freedom of Information Act requests. Both bills died in committee, right? Meaning, to put that in simple terms, anytime there's a bill proposed to get rid of these, to say, this is all the bill's saying, okay? Yeah, making profit off of prisons or hiring, private companies to run prisons so they can make a profit is fucking asinine, and it's a terrible idea, and we shouldn't have that, right? They're fighting for their survival, right? They're a company, and they want to stay afloat, right? They're not going to support that bill, of course, right? But just think about that. What type of a sick individual votes for that, right? Well, like what type of I don't care what political party you are, who votes for private companies to make profit off our taxpayer money to lock people up? I mean, that's crazy. That's asking. You cannot run a prison like a business. That's retarded. A business is always trying to maximize profits. How does a private prison maximize profits? By getting more fucking prisoners. So of course you're going to be for, stronger and stricter, and lobby for stricter drug laws, and, of course you're going to lobby for shit like the 3 strikes rule that they have in some states, okay? Of course you're going to lobby strong for, if somebody's caught with a bag of fucking anything, cocaine or marijuana, lock them up for years, right? That's why there's people locked up for the stupidest reasons, right? Next to rapists and killers, right? For drug possession. I mean, this is insane. And it's not a coincidence. I mean, just compare us to any modern nation on earth, or any nation. I don't even have to say modern. Any nation. Per capita, I mean, we're an embarrassment of how many people we lock up. It's embarrassing. So of course these politicians, of course, they're gonna walk out there and say, "Yeah, I'm for private prisons. I want to lock more people up so they can give me more money for my campaign." Of course, you're not going to say that, right? Well, that's not what they say. Like what? Of course, you're not going to say that. But you got to follow the money. Action speaks louder than words in politics, right? Or in anything. But it's pretty, it's common sense, isn't it? Is it not common sense? Why are they lobbying so hard for laws that make it easier to arrest people, and lobbying so hard against laws that make it harder to arrest people, right? Or laws that will no longer make something illegal? Why do they lobby so hard for that? Well, why is a private business? Why are we allowing profits off of people getting arrested and convicted and locked up? Why are we allowing those individuals to influence the laws that we write, to influence which laws pass and which ones don't, to give money to politicians that get to vote on which laws pass and which don't? This is stupid. And people wonder, look, follow the money. Private prisons gave a lot of money to Donald Trump, a lot, right? And don't get me wrong, okay? Before Trump, the darlings of them were the Clintons, okay? But I mean, they gave a lot of money to Trump, a lot. They're expecting a big return for this, right? That's what they're expecting. Okay, they're expecting to get something back for this, right? So, are you shocked that almost every speech Trump gives now, he's talking about we're gonna deal with these drugs strongly. We're really gonna stop these drugs. We're gonna really go after these people and these thugs with these drugs. And what do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? Officers at a local level are going to be expected to fill up quotas, which is another problem, right? And they're going to be expected to arrest people, right? And when they want to arrest people, because these private prisons want more people, right? What neighborhoods do you think they're going to go to? You think the cop is going to go to the neighborhood where the judge's son might live in? You think those cops are going to go to the neighborhood where all the lawyers live? No, they're going to go to neighborhoods, right, that are disenfranchised already. That's where they're going to go, and those are the individuals that are going to get arrested. That's just the way it is, right? And I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing it in the way they're demonizing certain cities, and um, I mean, Chicago gets targeted. I mean, Chicago has become a punchline for Republicans to annoy, right? I mean, it's they always mention it's always like we got to fix the problems in the inner cities like Chicago and other cities. Like if Chicago's the only city with problems, um, and the reason they're doing that is because when they start locking people up, they want to justify it. Well, of course you're locking people up, but look, they're so violent. No, we got to lock violent people up, but you have to understand they're not. The majority of people getting locked up are non-violent offenders, right? So look, it's no coincidence that these private prisons are against legalization of something simple as marijuana, right? And other drugs. They're against that. But when you really think about it, who's benefiting off of this, right? Politicians are benefiting off of it because they're getting campaign contributions, right? Right. And keep in mind, this is with our taxpayer money. Law enforcement benefits from it. A lot of police departments, I mean, bank off of this shit, right? They make bank off of this. Their part of their budget is depends on confiscating cash from drug dealers, right? And not just cash, but anything. Their vehicles, or their goods, there's whatever they have on them when they're arrested. It could be confiscated for quote unquote investigating, right? And they don't have to give it back because at that point it's considered evidence, right? So at that point it's gone, and they make little coffee shops in their police departments out of that, out of the profits they make off of that. Okay, Custom makes profit out of this. Border Patrol makes profit out of this. Okay, they're making money off of this. Why would they stop it? Why would the politicians stop it? Why would police departments be against it? Okay, why would custom agents be against it? I have a family member that works for Customs, right? And every time I talk about the war on drugs with him, he says, I agree, but hey, job security, right? And okay, I get it, but I mean, keep in mind, what is your job security depending on, right? And it's job security for some people, it's profit for some others. For these private prisons, it's profit. That's all it is. That's all it is, man. I've seen videos on here by cops saying things like, in a lot of inner cities, it's just wearing the wrong color, or however you want to say it, a particular color, right? They can put you in as being a member of a certain gang, right? Like they can, and that stays on your record, even if you didn't commit a crime. Like it's just, you'll get pulled over, and cops will ask you, "Hey, are you still a gang member?" At 8:30 and shit. If you're walking with your friend and he's a gang member, you're not, they can log you in as a gang member at that point. Okay, it doesn't mean you committed a crime. It's not on your record that you committed a crime, but it's on your record that you're a gang member. What does that do? That makes you more suspicious, right? If they're following you around and if they see it's your plates and they log in, let's say you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, and it comes up, oh, this guy's a gang member, right? I mean, it's going to make the cop more suspicious. It's going to ask you to get out of the car. It's going to cause that police officer to harass more people. It's going to increase the probability of trying to detain somebody and then charges like resisting arrest. Okay, it's all part of it's just how they work this shit, right? And the fact that people don't see this is insane to me, right? So at the end of the day, if when you look at, it's a nation of 300 million people, right? And if you legalize drugs, it's going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit everyone who pays taxes. It's going to benefit them. It may not, anecdotally, it may affect some police departments. It may affect some, custom agents and border patrol agents and politicians and stuff like that, right? Lobbyists will be out of work, but so what? It's going to affect a couple 100,000, but it's going to benefit millions. And that's just the reality, right? And but unfortunately, those 100,000 have a lot of power, and they're the ones ringing the system, right? So how do we fix this? Right? Because one thing to just talk about it, like, oh look, well, number one, more people have to know about it. That's number one, right? So you have to be well aware of this. That's more people need to know this, right? Most people do not know that we have for-profit prisons. Like, most people just think of a prison as, well, that's where the criminals go, right? They know that taxpayers pay for it, but they see it as a necessity. Well, yeah, we got to lock them up, right? We're not going to kill them all or something, right? We got to lock them up. But they don't understand the system. They don't understand that it's for profit. They don't understand that their incentive is to lock more people up. They don't understand that. most people, okay, are worried about, you know, whether LeBron James is the greatest of all time or not. Okay. Okay. Most people are concerned about, whether or not, the Illuminati is real. Okay. I mean, most people are concerned about, okay, wrestling or, sports. Okay. Or just, it's some reality, the Kardashians on TV. They're more concerned about that. They don't know about private presence. It's not juicy for them, right? I mean, I think it would be cool if somebody did a show about it. I mean, I think more people will learn about it that way. But number one is people need to know about it. That's number one. Number two, you got to take money out of politics. If money in politics is the head on the fucking snake, right? You cut the fucking head off, the rest doesn't matter. And if these, if you don't allow anyone, I'm not just talking about, you know, private prisoners, prisons, anyone. If you don't allow corporations to be able to donate unlimited amount of money and dark money in super PACs and all that, right? If we eliminate this idiotic um, thinking that the Supreme Court passed, okay, that it's law now, but that, well, not so much law, but it's translated that way, that money is free speech. And we could just get rid of that. That would do wonders, right? I mean, I'm not saying politicians shouldn't receive money, okay? I mean, look, if somebody wants to say, well, don't make it unlimited, right? Okay, fine. But politicians should have to disclose who's giving them their money, right? Honestly, it's in my opinion, and I don't think this is too far off at all. It's going to sound wacky because we don't do it now, but if a politician comes on TV, okay, or anywhere, whoever's quote unquote sponsors them or gives money to them should be automatically revealed on the screen on whatever network they come on. Um, that's my opinion. Okay, I think that lobbyists should be banned completely. Right, all money that's donated should not be dark money. They should get rid of super PACs. Right, and we should be well aware of who's giving you money. Right, and even then, people are stupid and they want to get it, but at least it'll tilt the scales a little bit. But in my opinion, it should be limited. Right, I don't like the idea that very few people could give so much money to a politician, and then whenever how that politician votes, it's gonna come down to money, right? So, for example, when Hillary Clinton was running, it was obvious to see where her political stances came from, okay, because all you have to do was look at who was giving her the money, right? So she was getting hundreds of thousands of donations, right? Or over 1 million donations or whatever, but it was like 4 donors were more than half of the money she had. Who do you think she's going to vote in favor on or pass laws for? Right? No, she didn't win, but it's just an example, right? If you look at any politician, right, it's a fucking oligarchy. So no matter what it is, a bill is proposed, and most of the time, like outrageously enough, they always vote in favor of things that benefit their donors, or they vote against things that don't benefit their donors all the time. All right, this is not like a secret, right? Big oil. Almost everybody who gets money from big oil is a climate change denier. All of them, every single one of them. Right? You think that's a coincidence? So you think when they're try to pass laws that help other forms of energy grow, right? That could be cheaper in the long run as well, by the way. All of a sudden, they're just against it just because? Like, you think they hate wind that much or what? Oh, they just don't like solar. They can't stand it. You think that's what it is? What do you think it is? If you look at like politicians that all of a sudden, you know, are okay with online gambling, right? Out of nowhere, they're just okay with it. And I'm okay with it too, by the way, but it's just an example. I'm talking about politicians that their whole life were against gambling, right? And all of a sudden they support online gambling, but then you find out who gave them money, right? Or vice versa. You have politicians that don't have a problem with regular gambling, as far as at a casino, but all of a sudden they're against online gambling. Why? I wonder why. And then you realize who's giving them money. It's somebody who owns a casino that's losing customers due to online gambling, right? I mean, it's an ongoing issue, And so we have the donors are fighting for what they want, and it's not coming down to what's best for the citizens. It's not, right? Now, with that said, so we got to get money out of politics, and how you do that, I mean, holy shit, that's a whole other video, but um, that's number one. And once you do that, you don't allow them to be able to legally, anyway. They'll probably still try and do it illegally or find loopholes, but they won't be able to legally just flat out just do legal bribery on fucking politicians that will vote in their favor at all times. And I think that's problematic to me, in my opinion. Now, the most sick, twisted part of these private prisons, and I'm going to close it with this, it's the slave labor, right? That's the worst part. Okay, I can't stand that, man. It's when I see stories of corporations making big profits because they have prisoners doing labor for them. I mean, holy shit, does that bother the fuck out of me, right? It just does. I remember there was a governor in, I forgot what state it was. I think it was Alabama. I could be wrong about that, but he just openly offered that he was just, and he said this like, it's mind-boggling to me, but he goes, people are talking about the cost of the wall. I know how to keep the cost down. I'll give Trump some of these prisoners so they can help build this wall. That's slave labor, dude. Like, you're not listening to what you're saying, right? And then most people are like okay with it. Most people, I believe anyway, in the minds of most people, if they hear, oh, they're going to have prisoners build the wall, right? People think, well, all right. Well, it's better than them just sitting in the cell and doing nothing with my taxpayer money. They're fucking pieces of shit anyway because they're in jail. I think that's how most people think. But I don't think most people realize that, number one, slavery should be illegal. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. Right? We shouldn't have people do free labor. Right? Even if they committed a heinous crime. Right? Do I believe we should lock them up? Sure. If they did a very heinous crime, I'm not even against the death penalty. Right? I'm very strict on the death penalty. I don't think it should happen as often as it happens in fucking Texas. Okay, but it's in certain cases I'm okay with it. But I think prisoners should just be kept out of society. But if you're going to have a prisoner work, you should pay them at least minimum wage. And I'm okay with them not being able to use their money in prison, right? or not most of it. Maybe have keep it limited, but there should be some type of savings account or something in place. So that way, when they get out of prison, they have money in a bank account, right? And then that will literally, and by the way, I don't think they should be forced to work either. But if they want to work, you should pay them at least minimum wage. Well, what if they're there for life? You should let them work if they want. Pay them minimum wage, okay? And if they want that money to be available for a family member, for their kids, it should be available to them. Okay? I mean that's me. All right? I know most people are like, "No, but they're prisoners." Look, man, either you're against slavery or you're not. Okay? It's as simple as that. Now, do I think they're going to use prisoners to build a fucking wall? No. Okay? I would hope not. But that would be the ultimate test. Because if they used prisoners, who the majority of those will be nonviolent offenders, to build a wall for nothing, that's slavery. I don't care how you spin it. That's slavery, right? Period. And whether people want to admit it or not, there is still slavery in this country, and it's within the prison system, right? It's just the way it is. It's just the way of the wind, okay? It's just the way of the wind. But anyway, um, that's really all I got to say about that, man. Don't got anything else to add. Tell me what you think. This is D Style. I'm out to bait. Peace.